Hey there, welcome back. In this final piece of the American government lesson, I want to tell you a little bit more about these checks and balances. So if you find this page in your book, mine is turned sideways. This is page 75. And let me just tell you a little bit about what checks and balances are. We've already touched on them a little bit. Checks and balances are just a system it's really a protection in our government that keeps one branch from becoming too powerful. So when you talk about checks and balances, think about one branch watching over the other two branches. So let me give you the pieces of this, the details that go in this matrix, and then we'll come back and put the doors on here, the flaps that belong. So let's start here in the executive branch. Remember, that's the White House, that's the president. So I want to start here in this first box, and I'm going to give you 4 points right here. The first one: the president and his staff can propose laws. Okay, that's one thing the president can do. The president can veto laws. And remember, veto is reject. The president can call special sessions of Congress. Congress meets at appointed times called sessions, but the president can call special sessions of Congress. And finally, the president can make appointments to the Supreme Court or to federal positions, also to the cabinet. So those are things that the executive branch can do. And let's go down the column. Let's get the judicial. Be careful, this is a little bit out of order to how we did it. There is one major thing that I want you to know about this one. The judicial branch can declare or state that executive, that's the president, actions, so presidential actions, are unconstitutional. So the president can take executive action, but if the judicial branch says it's not constitutional, then there's a problem. So the judicial branch can declare presidential actions to be unconstitutional. The legislative branch. There are 6 points here that I want to give you. First thing, they can override the president's veto. So the president can veto something or reject it, but Congress can override it. They can declare war. They can impeach the president. They confirm presidential appointments. So the president names a person to the Supreme Court. Congress has to confirm that. So it takes both of those bodies to bring in an appointment. They accept or ratify treaties. That's with foreign governments. And they appropriate, which means to give out, dole out, decide how it will be spent, money. So they control the treasury, the tax system. So these are duties of each branch. And we've kind of already talked about that, but it doesn't hurt to list them again. In this column, we're going to take a little bit of a different course of action. In the executive column out there, I want you to put two things. The president can grant pardons. To federal law offenders. You see this happen quite often, actually, in my opinion. If a person has been jailed for a crime in the federal system, the president can throw out that conviction, can pardon. The president appoints federal judges. So in order to get a federal position as a judge, you have to be appointed by the president, by the executive branch. You can't just decide to apply for that job, and it has to be an appointment. Okay, the judicial branch can declare acts of Congress Remember, Congress is the legislature, to be unconstitutional. So let's look at this right here, this middle row. The judicial branch can declare that executive actions are unconstitutional. They can declare that Congress's acts are unconstitutional. Legislature can impeach judges. It's not just a president, it's a judge as well. If the judge breaks the law, he or she can be impeached. Congress, legislature, is charged with creating lower courts. So Congress sets up the lower federal courts. They are very much involved in the judicial system. Congress approves appointments. So you can't get to be a federal judge without the president and the Congress behind you. You see how the founding fathers thought this all through? The system of checks and balances to keep everybody in line. And Congress can propose amendments. Remember, amendments are changes. To overrule judicial, and I'm going to capitalize that because I'm referring to the branch, decisions. So just because a judge says so doesn't make it so. Now, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. It is not easy to, again, get an amendment passed, but it is possible. It is part of our legal system to make that possible.